Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Peralt, and I have the pleasure to serve on the board, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for coming out to enjoy the afternoon session with Celinda Appleby. Let me tell you, she's been with 2 organizations over the past several years, both Fortune 100 or less. She's on a national scene for conference speaking, Talent Connect through LinkedIn, a variety of others. We're gracious to have her in the room to depart her knowledge and share with us her wisdom and best practices, certainly around the topics. Look at this. We're going to learn more about the recruiting strategy and optimization. And feel free to ask Q&A. And please keep in mind that when asking questions afterwards, use the mic as this is being recorded. So without further ado, Celinda Appleby.
Hello. Okay, it's on. Hi, everybody. I'm Celinda. I am so happy to be here. I'm a little nervous, as you can probably tell, and it's a larger room than I imagined in my brain last night. So it's super big circle career moment for me. Back in 2011, I came to my first recruitDC. I heard Susan Strayer-Lamont keynote about Marriott, and Kathleen Smith and Bridget Friedman talk about social recruiting, and I was a sourcer at HP. I wasn't doing anything. So one of my friends, Steve Levy, the other day posted on Facebook and said, "What do you do when you leave a conference? Do you do anything?" And I can attest that I left that day. It was like Memorial Day weekend, and I plunged into every single social media network possible and joined as Celinda Appleby, because that's what they told me to do. And so fast forward 5 years later, I'm currently at Oracle. I lead a global team. It's recruitment marketing at its core. Funny story, I'm a recruiter, I'm a sourcer. I've only taken 1 course in marketing, so funny that I'm here, right? My team sits all over the world. They support me. They're watching on Periscope, so hello. I'm a mom. I have identical twin boys. They are my core. You see them on the picture, Corey, Brady. I'm obsessed with Netflix. Most of my nights are spent on a couch watching something. I'm obsessed with The Affair right now. Amazing. Who killed Noah? I mean, who killed Scotty? I'm also obsessed with shoes. I bought these just for you. And I'm obsessed with hip hop. Mainly old school, but every now and then I'll get into a little Tyga and a Little John. You'll find that I added my Twitter handle because I got feedback not too long ago that I don't make it easy to reach me. So now, every now and then, you'll see my Twitter handle. Tweet me. I'm always accessible. I talk to people all the time, even on the phone, which is I hate. People in this room can attest I hate the phone. 14 years as a recruiter killed me. So let's start. I'm super interactive, so if you guys have questions, you can jump right in. I probably will talk too much. I had a double espresso because Michael Heller hooked me up. So my blood is pumping. So let's raise our hands. How many people here are recruiters, actively recruiting people? Good show of hands. How many people are marketing? How many people are managing recruiters or marketing? Now, this is a very interesting question. Everyone should all have your hands up, so raise double hands. Up, 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 up. Every single recruiter is a marketer. You're the first line. You talk to people before our salespeople talk to people. You talk to more people than our salespeople get to talk to. I say sales because we sell things. I don't know what you guys do, but we sell things. So it's time for you guys to start thinking as a marketer, right? And you read about that, people all talk about it. But that's why you're here, right? So we're going to talk about some core, easy things. Most of the things I mention are free. I kind of love that free stuff. I don't know why. Call me a girl after a good bargain. And I also don't want you to leave here thinking that you have to spend a whole bunch of money to get this stuff started. So first things first. You guys know that quote, right? No? I'm very ashamed. I'm embarrassed. Okay, so first things first. Before you go and get started, and I learned this the hard way, so I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. You have to get leadership buy-in, right? I told you I spent an entire Memorial Day weekend opening up all these social media sites and gung-ho, totally went crazy, but didn't tell anyone, which is fine. But then when I started getting super good at it, no one believed me, because they missed out the 4 or 5 months that I worked so hard to build this network that was finally getting me hires. And trust me, I didn't do it for a company first, I did it for myself first. So find someone, find anyone that will believe in you, besides your mom, your children, and your friends, or me. Find someone in your company that's going to start this journey with you. Why do you need that? Because you're going to get super far into it. It's super easy when you get passionate about something, kind of like working out. You start, you kind of hate it, eventually you're becoming a yoga instructor. And it's so much better, not me, but someone is. Not me. The only time I work out, since I'm being honest, is in January. Super passionate about it in January, along with juicing and cutting carbs. And then January 17th, I'm back to my couch with Netflix and wine. So back to this. Find someone that believes in you. At HP, it was a project manager. It wasn't even anyone super high up the food chain. At Oracle, I'm super duper lucky because they obviously wanted me, and so they hired me in. However, it doesn't have to be easy all the time, right? So I spent 2 years at HP not having it easy, and it made it a lot easier. Now, there's a survey that I just tweeted out, because I'm proactive like that, that Lippincott put together with LinkedIn Talent Solutions. And it's about how companies that have a good consumer brand and a good talent brand, if they get married, those brands together, in 5 years or less, they're going to be at the top 36% of the best brands possible. What does that mean to you? That is your pitch. That is what you're going to take back. And you're not going to remember it, but I tweeted it out, so steal it. It's a PDF. This is what you tell your boss. I just learned from Celinda Appleby that according to Lippincott, how smart does that sound? If we start doing this and marry with marketing and marry the brand, I don't want you to do 2 different things, which is probably what other people have told you. I want you guys to get married and have a happy family and find a way to make babies in the same little white picket fence area. Lippincott makes it sound so much better than me, and there's no rep references. Relationships matter. So as I start doing this, and for you guys, right, because I'm sure this isn't your full-time job like it is for me, you're going to want to talk to people. So it's important to me, and I've learned, and 2 companies I've done this for, that you become friends with HR, you become friends with the janitor, you become friends with anyone that's willing to listen to you and buy into your mission. Marketing's another really big one, legal, because you're going to run into issues, you're going to run into problems that are way above your brain function, and these people can help you. So some of the ways to do that is to create a task force, right? So at Oracle, super organic, we have 6 or 7 of us in varied functions that lead HR, that lead marketing. We meet once a month, and we kind of talk about what's going on. We don't really necessarily make big strides or big decisions, but we're friends. And so when I run into a comm problem, I can call up the comms manager because we're friends, right? And how many people here will do things for their friends without thinking, but they won't do it so much for a stranger, right? Because it's a little harder. Even though I want you guys all to do fun things for strangers and nice things, the reality is we take care of our own first. And with time being so limited, with so much noise out in the market, you're going to take care of your friends. So notice how I haven't talked about social media yet? Because it's about relationships first. You will get nowhere in life, and that includes social media, without having some sort of support in the back end. And I don't mean my hips at all, even though I just did that. So anyways, I'm a spaz. Okay, so here's my next rap thing. Stop, collaborate, and listen. I took it all the way back to some little Vanilla Ice. Simple, right? So I'm telling you some silly life things that you probably have heard from your parents. You can't move on with anything, including social media strategy, employer branding, recruitment, marketing, if you're not stopping, collaborating, and listen. I was going to do a little hip-hop dance for you, but the heels, we'll blame the heels. You stop. You got to assess what the heck is going on your plate. Why do you need social media? Why do you need to be on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Periscope, enter every other channel? Why? Are you trying to recruit? Do you want to recruit diversity? Do you want to just tweet pictures all day? Like, what is your goal? Collaborate. Remember all those friends we just made a couple slides ago? Make sure you're collaborating with them because they probably have some amazing content to give you. And not only that, they have their own mission that hopefully will find a way to tie into yours. Whew. Okay, and listen, right? What's listen mean to me? Listen means as you're posting, as you're doing, you're looking at metrics, you're analyzing, you're listening to your feedback. Because guess what? Things change. You may fall in love with something that looks phenomenal, and I'll give you concrete stuff in a bit. But if you're not listening, you're going to lose the engagement of the people that are following you. Hopefully, these people are hoping to get a job or are already gainfully employed by your company. So this leads me to build a strategy. This is probably the hardest slide for me to put together because everybody's company is different. You know, and a lot of people feel alienated when I talk about Oracle or HP because you work at a really small company, right? And you're like, well, I don't have that Oracle name or that HP laptop to bring to the table. So I always do a very, very bland approach to strategy because I don't think it's one size fits all. What I think you need to figure out is where you're trying to hire people. So if you are looking for, we'll use Oracle stuff. For us, LinkedIn is amazing if we're looking to hire people in the mid to upper career levels, especially sales, tech next, right? So it took me 8 months to figure this out. I sound smart right now, but my strategy for LinkedIn is based on those people. My strategy for Facebook, since our demographics are extremely young, I think there's 24 to 35 from the last time I checked, primarily in India, next in Mexico. That's amazing market for free, organic reach. But if I want to spend a little bit of money, I can probably reach some millennials in Facebook too. It's just going to be a little bit harder because I don't have millennials in the US following me, for example. Long story short, you figure out who you're trying to reach, you build a strategy, you figure out what your goals are. Strategy is a big word to say a bunch of stuff, but you have to figure out what you want to do. Are you looking to engage your employees? Do you want to recruit? Do you want to hire? I'm hoping everyone here is looking to recruit, but sometimes you just want to spread the love that you're available and it's such a great company. Once you have your strategy, you need to figure out what your social recipe is. And I say recipe because I'm one of those Rachel Ray type cooks that's a pinch of this and a pinch of that. I don't really have Julia Child's in brain where it has to be this way. It's just the way I operate in life. So when I first started at Oracle, we had over 87 social media properties. 87. I let them survive for about 3 months, and then I shut them all down because I like to listen and figure out how I can collaborate with those 87 people. I decided I couldn't because it was easier to just do one. But we only set our time on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and that's all I did for many months. They were established, so I didn't create, but I made them global, and I changed the strategy around them to speak to people at a certain time. We created a calendar. Next, I thought Glassdoor would be important. We'd never owned a page before. I was seeing a lot of noise. I'm a fan of Glassdoor. I think people are going to Glassdoor organically anyways, and so why wouldn't I want to own my page? According to Glassdoor, at the time I bought it, we were the 4th most viewed tech company in the globe. Made sense to buy. Instagram, which is my baby, I won't even turn it over to any of the 10 people that work for me, was launched in August. I love it. It's actually my favorite. Don't ask me if I'm making hires or if I'm doing any conversions because I can't even track the links that get hit on there. But I think it's beautiful, and I think we've had like over 500 followers in less than 3 months. We also have a blog. The blog had been around since 2007. It was a little bit of a hot mess. So what we ended up doing was relaunching, rebranding. I'm actually pretty proud of our blog. I have 3 copywriters that dedicate a lot of time writing awesome stories. The way we blend the blog is we do Oracle stuff, but we also do tips on how to interview and how to update your resume. And we try to give back because guess what? I want to be that one-stop shop. I want people when they say, because let's be honest, how many of you, by a show of hands, organically go to anyone's Facebook page? Organically. Meaning you just wake up and say, I'm going to go to a page. No, I own 80 pairs of Nike sneakers, primarily Jordans. I don't go into the Nike Facebook page ever, ever. Maybe I'll like a shoe every now and then if it shows up, but nothing prompts me to go to Nike. So what I tell my team is, what are we going to do to get organic people to come to our page? And that's offering them everything they need. So we offer culture, we offer life. Those are the easy ones, right? That's your employee-generated content. But the second piece of it all is that we're offering things like tips, right? Because people may not get a job with you. You know, they may not nail the interview, but we're giving them some sort of content to feel the warm and fuzzies and to keep coming back. We have a YouTube channel. I added it on there because if you Google me, you'll find it. I'm not proud of it, so I'm not going to talk about it. Next year. Next year. I am proud of this, so I wanted to take the time to ask you all, shamelessly, the only thing I'll ask you today, besides to listen and laugh, is to follow us, because, like I said, we have 500 people. If I could get 10 more, this will feel successful to me. Oops. Okay. So what I get asked all the time, whether it's on LinkedIn InMail or someone wants to talk to me, is what the heck is content, right? What's content? What is content? What's copy? And again, I'm a recruiter by trade. I'll identify with that. Somehow I've become a marketer in the past few years, so all this is new to me. So I think like a candidate. How many of you have been job seekers in the past 5 years? It's really good. Not many people. As a job seeker, there's things that you're going through, right? And so I try to think like a job seeker, and I try to think of ways to make life easier for our recruiters. One of the best, and of course, I start to think like a marketer, so I read way too much. But some of the easiest things for you to do if you're looking for content is figure out what hashtags are trending. I'm going to give you a few because I like you. Wellness Wednesday. Every Wednesday, it freaking blows up, and I almost dropped a bad word.
You can do it. Yeah, pretty young. Do it. Go.
Next time, next time. Next time. Next time, pressure. I'm a good girl. It just comes out, it just comes out. Okay, so Wellness Wednesday, Motivation Monday. And you're like, what the heck is Motivation Monday? Well, we've tried it a few ways. Who are the most biggest motivators in your company? Recruiters, you are. You motivate people all the time. Sorry you didn't get the job, but you're awesome. Come back next week. Sorry we didn't pick you, but you did really well in your interview. If we had 3 jobs, you'd be one of the hires. So we went to our recruiters, picked 4 of them. I said, give me your best 4 tips, and don't give me that canned stuff I'll find on Forbes. Give me something that you'll want people to remember you by. And so worked really well for us. Of course, it's hard to get recruiters because they're so busy. So we moved on to quotes. We use Canva. We put some quotes on a cute little paper and post them. And guess what? They're very popular. But what we did that's different that other companies aren't doing, and steal away. I always feel really happy when I see people doing what I do. Is we went to our groups of people, anyone we talked to, like, hey, we're running this Motivation Monday. What's your favorite quote? And no one ever will tell you they don't know a quote. You know, I can spit one out right now. Everyone has some sort of life motivator. And so we do that. Company perks. Many companies nowadays feel that showing their Nerf gun battles or whatever that crap is you guys do is a perk. That's not a perk. Perk is flexibility. That's what candidates want to hear about. Can they bring their kids to work? Are you hosting family functions? You know, this is obviously for the crowds like me that have kids at home. But for the single people, are you doing happy hours? Are you treating to the Yankees game? Are you giving tickets away? That's the kind of stuff that's perks, right? And it's simple stuff. It's happening anyways. You know, our Atlanta office posted like 100 pictures yesterday of their Thanksgiving celebration. What a freaking perk. I wanted to be in Atlanta and eat pie. And I work for Oracle, but I wanted to be there. And that's the kind of stuff that you guys don't think about. Not you guys, the world doesn't think about. Nothing personal. Culture, and that's a hard one. Everyone's like, how do you showcase culture, right? But everyone talks about it. Culture is this your day-to-day? What does your freaking desk look like? Such a popular feature we're currently running. I'll show it to you in a little bit. The desks of the people that work for us. And you'd think, like, really, people care? We ran this, and we had over 200 likes, which is huge for us. Organic. Like, I didn't pay a penny. We reached over 20,000 people one day, less than 8 hours. Team events, that's simple. I don't have to explain it. You guys probably get together outside of work, or sometimes you're forced to work together on a volunteering event or somewhat. People like seeing that. Why? Because candidates read the job description, Taleo or Greenhouse or wherever. They interview with 1 or 2 people, right? They get that side of the house. But they don't ever really get to meet their teams or see what the cafeteria looks like or take a look at what they're doing together. And honestly, in this day and age, when you can get 2 same competing offers, that kind of stuff is going to make a difference. Employee spotlights. This one is not brand new. I've been doing this my entire career. I shifted gears 2 months ago. And it's working really well, so steal away. We're no longer featuring average Joe developer or average Joe recruiter, which was what I thought people wanted to see. Those did well. What's really working for us is I'm featuring VPs, C-level suite, SVPs, and they are talking about why they still come into Oracle day after day. I don't know why it works, but I think it shows career progression. It really works well because people ask questions. Now all of a sudden they want to work with Billy Bob, the SVP of Cloud Marketing. And it gets leaders involved because I make them believe, well, you do believe, you are. They're a thought leader, for lack of a better word, in that demographic. So I recently started saying to the business, do you want a recruiter to tell your story, or do you want to tell your own freaking story? Business said to me, wow, I never thought of it that way. I said, yeah, well, the recruiter's going to recruit for you for hopefully 60 days, and then we're going to fill your role. And then they go on to another rec. But you're going to stay at that role, hopefully for the next 12 months or longer, so you are the face of that role. You're the face of that department. Why do you want a recruiter to tell your story? No offense, but I'm trying to make your workload easier. So I'm trying to get the hiring managers involved, and it's been really working. And so I challenge you guys to make it about them and lift the burden off you, right? We have a rule on my team. It's called the no crap rule. What's the no crap rule? My team is probably laughing or grunting. I can't even tell. No crap rule is I don't want to see people that look like they're unhappy. I don't want to see bad lighting or angles. Every week I'm like, did you filter that picture, right? And I'm okay with iPhone pics. Most of the pictures we get are, smartphone enabled, but we have a no crap rule, and the no crap rule goes into, is the content purposeful? Is it relevant? And is it engaging? And they should fit those 3 buckets. Purposeful means, is it going to help you recruit? Or is it going to help you showcase the culture? Or is it going to tell a story about the culture you're trying to showcase? Is it relevant? Like, is it good for today? Does it make sense? Does it make sense for Oracle? Does it make sense for the people you're looking to recruit? And is it purposeful? Does it give something back? And sometimes if they do 2 out of 3, I'm happy with that. I've gotten lax, they'll tell you. Purposeful, relevant, and engaging. No crap is the ending. Equals no crap. I say poop sometimes. So as you're building out your content, I beg you to keep it real. What does this mean? If you're a Benz, sell a Benz. If you're Fiat, sell Fiat. I find a lot of people selling a Fiat as a Benz. Onboarding sucks because they get in that driver's seat and they realize this is not the Benz I signed up for. And in this market of recruitment marketing booming and recruitment marketing just being a household name in recruiting, right? We're no longer this wicked stepchild I was 3 years ago. I'm now a seat at the table. It's my job to keep it real. It's my job to showcase the Nike instead of the Puma. And so that's where I empower you. Sometimes the stories you get aren't all that nice, right? And so you have the option of not sharing or putting a spin on it that's real, right? Not like, good story. So A couple months ago, someone called me, and they had been running a volunteer campaign on their Facebook every week. Tons of volunteer pictures, right? Which is awesome. We do it too, I'm not gonna lie. Well, the person joins there, a couple people joined, they had a hiring blitz, a couple people joined the organization. In the first 60 days, there were 0 volunteer events. Next 60 days, there were 0 volunteer events. So the recruitment marketer person, who will remain nameless, calls me and she goes, I'm having an issue. We just did some surveys, and perception was we were super high in CSR. And the reality is, we just took 8 pictures and ran them for 8 weeks from one event. And I said, oh, she's like, how would you fix that? And I said, oh, I don't know. I'm going to think on that. And I don't think I ever had an answer, I'm going to be honest with you. But that led me to believe and preach to my team, don't stretch it out. Be honest. Make an album. But don't leave the perception that you're super volunteering week over week. I think their content read as if every week they had this amazing volunteering event going on. And then these people would come in that obviously felt volunteerism was a part of their core values, and they wanted to work for a company that offered that, felt shamed. And so keeping it real is a tough one, but it's very, very important when you're building out content. So content should be purposeful. These are real content, real campaigns we're running or have ran. They did really well, which is why I picked them. I always get dinged a lot on my presentations that I don't show content. And so I challenge you to go into our pages and look, but I did take a constant effort to show you. So the one on the left was really hard to put together, I'm not going to lie. It was my very first campaign. I'd been at Oracle for 3 weeks, maybe 4. And we decided to run this thing called Inspired by Passion, which I know sounds really kind of, ugh, right? If you think of it from like a passion party type of thing. Which of course I did, but I didn't hear you laugh, so I figured I'd tell you. So I said, let's keep that campaign title internal. I don't want anyone getting out that we're inspired by passion. And so we ended up going to people and asking them to give us a quote. And they had to hold up a whiteboard. And you know, we said it's like, I forget the size, Avery 8 by 11, and hold it up and whatever. And we would get every size. We'd get an 8 by 10, we'd get 4 by 5s. And so it was really hard because we weren't at all the sites. I mean, I live in Maryland. So I think we ran it for 8 weeks. It did really well, though. And I couldn't have done that without a designer. So my designer did do that for me. Second one's super easy. It's probably our most popular blog to date. We used it when we relaunched. Everyone always talks about how to get hired. You see Forbes, Business Insider, everyone talks about it. I even share it. But no one talks about how to get hired at your own company. No one. And it may be the same 5 things, but you put your name in there. And we add real pictures. And people love it. People do. Comes back. Most popular. So it's purposeful. That's what purposeful means. Relevant. This goes back to the hashtags I was telling you about, but I wanted to show you some visuals because I know people prefer visuals in my voice. Wellness Wednesday. That guy blew up. Everyone thought he was a hottie. So I felt I would make the women happy today. In Mexico, single, I hear. But we do this every Wednesday, obviously. I actually just ran a blog this Wednesday that talks about the conception of the campaign. You're welcome to go look at it. It explains how we started it, how it activates. Easiest thing ever, you know, because I do think people are active, besides me. But for the most part, people are doing something active. And so the call of action was simple. Send us a picture either in a team environment or in a solo. We just want to see you moving. People send us pictures of themselves walking their dog, walking their kids to school. That's wellness to me. We also had, in the process, we met an Olympic swimmer. She's probably watching. She's one of our biggest fans, not in recruiting. And we met this guy who's a triathlete. We met some amazing people. And I say we, I really just project managed. My team really did it all. And then there's my Oracle desk. That's the first one I told you. They got over 200 likes. Developer, again in Mexico. You notice the trend in Mexico? I have a superstar in Mexico that helps me out quite a bit. Actually, this whole slide is Manuel. Oh my God. So this is his quote. I didn't do that on purpose, even though he probably does deserve some kudos from me. But this is our Motivation Monday. So when we moved away from the recruiters, we went to this Canva thing, and it does really well. Now, when I say it does really well, we've tried it on every single channel. Where does it do best? Instagram. So we recently stopped doing it on Facebook and Twitter, bless you, and now we're doing it on Instagram. And why am I telling you this? Because sometimes you hear in conferences that it's one, like what you do, it has to go everywhere. And I know I'm saying sometimes, I've heard that because I did that, I've done it, but it doesn't. So for instance, my Oracle desk goes on everything but LinkedIn. I don't think it's purposeful for LinkedIn. Well, this onesie again also doesn't go on LinkedIn. It could, but we use other content there that's a little bit more relevant to that audience. And engaging. Every single piece of photo you see there, I found on the internet. I didn't stage them. I didn't ask for them. I found them. Or they got submitted to me. First one in the corner, we ran a selfie thing, an Ussie. I sent a picture of the world famous Ellen Ussie. Do you guys remember that one? And I sent out an email newsletter and I said, send me your best Ussie. And people loved it. We had over 40, 50 Ussies in less than 2 weeks because it's easy. People can just pop in front of whatever those things are, those sticks. Selfie, Ussies. Can you tell I don't have one? My arm is really long. So anyways, I wanted to show you that content doesn't have to be as staged, because this is my staged content, right? This is Celinda has a designer. She has time on her hands. She has a team. And I don't want you to walk away thinking that's what you needed to do. It's helpful, not going to lie. But this is content that did equally as well. And we either retweet them, and sometimes we do both. We get so excited. I get so excited. I retweet them, tell them how phenomenal they are and how amazing they are. Oh my God, I wish I was playing with you right now. And then I say, can I add you to my Facebook, Twitter? Oh my God, everything. And that's how we've become friends. A lot of these people, actually lower left corner, I met him on Instagram. Al Garona, one of my biggest fans now because he follows me on every single personal channel. I love Al. So anyways, point is, it doesn't have to be hard. All right, so I can't do this without giving you my rant. Many people that follow me on Facebook know I rant a lot. Well, maybe not a lot. Every now and then I have my moments. But get over yourself. And what does that mean? Please stop being a brand narcissist. People do this all the time. When I joined Oracle, and if you're ever bored and you've been drinking, it's only fun when you've been drinking. Go into the Oracle page and look at what they were doing a year ago. Don't look at what we're doing now, it's fine. But go look at what they were doing a year ago, and it was really, really brand narcissist. What does that mean? That means you're talking about, come to my event, apply to my job. We just had the best stock year of the planet, and now we have a new product, and by the way, our team rocks because we rock. And read our article, and read our blog, and have you signed up for our event, and it's a spew of brand barf. It is, because then you get turned off and you unfollow them, right? Just like your friends that are constantly complaining or showing they're working out, or I've got this thing where I tell my friends, like, the only time I know you're working out or they're at the gym is if you fell off the treadmill, and like you're bleeding, and you need me to call 911. Other than that, like, just go. Have fun. I'm drinking wine on my couch. But yeah, so if you don't remember anything else, and I do hope I was kind of fun, do this. Like, find a way to incorporate other people's content. I'm not saying you have to use Oracle, but go for it. It's good. But go into Forbes, Business Insiders. We use Mashable a lot. The Muse, one of my favorite people, that bloggers. I'll even retweet my friends. Like, for instance, Nando Rodriguez is with Horizon Media. They post some awesome content. I'll retweet them. I've retweeted CEB before. Because guess what? It shows that you care, and you're not always me. We live in a society where it's me, 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 me. Don't let your job become me, 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 me too. And so this is my biggest, hopefully, takeaway for you. And I wanted to show you how it works. So we had this idea to talk about video interviewing, which is relevant. We're looking into it. We're about to actually pilot it. But it had nothing to do with that. My copywriter, who you see right there, Ramona, said, we need to talk about video interviewing. People are doing it. All the companies are talking about it. Business Insider, we should have some sort of tips, right? She wrote the blog, and it was spot on. It was really good. And I said, guess what? I have a friend, Phil Rodriguez with HireVue. Why don't you interview him? Maybe he can give you a couple quotes, because not only are we talking about what we think about video interviewing, but now you're getting quotes from a man that works for one of the leading companies in video interviewing. He was very gracious and joined us and did it. We did it. We posted it, and it got picked up by HireVue, and they reposted it. And then it got picked up by someone else, and they reposted it. And so collaboration is very important. But no one does it in the career space. But guess what? Marketing does it. I remember at HP, we collaborated with a bunch of people in the marketing side, not the career side. So I wanted to bring this sense of collaboration into the career side, right? So if we are talking about interviewing tips, why aren't we going to people that do it? So I've reached out to Careerism. I'm trying to develop partnerships because it makes us look like we're willing to play in the sandbox. And don't you want to work for a company that's playing in the sandbox? I do. So calendar is very important, and it probably deserves like 9 slides of their own. But I wanted to tell you that without a calendar, it'd be a mess. It's kind of like dating in this world without being able to know when you're going to meet. Like, hey, see me tomorrow. What time? I'm type A. So you definitely need a calendar. And the calendar, I made it simple, but you should talk about scheduling. You know, I operate a global. You should see our calendar. Actually, I tweeted it out. Our calendar is disgusting. I remember when my team first started, they were like, what is this? And I basically have every single time they can tweet and what it means across the world. So if it's noon at Singapore, it's midnight in the East Coast. Because guess what? I think it's important. You know, you don't want to tweet something out that's going to offend Singapore at noon, and I'm sleeping and I can't fix it. So I did this big calendar. But for most important purposes is that even when you don't have content, right? Because people always talk to me about not having content, there are awesome events that happen on a monthly basis. So, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. I even put in Donut Day. I mean, I did the big holidays. People go on vacations. There's things that you can talk about that your candidates are doing. It's very rare you run into people that don't celebrate Valentine's Day, right? And even if you're not Irish, you still don some green. So if you run out of content ideas, then you would want to use holidays and stuff. I thought you were asking a question for 2 seconds. And I have so many more slides. OK, so I have 5 minutes. And I didn't think I'd be able to do this in less than, I thought it'd be faster. Anyways, brand advocates are very important. I've switched the way I talk about this. I used to say the recruiters were your only brand advocates possible, and the recruiters are your go-to, go-to, go-to. And then I realized recruiters are really freaking busy. And so I have over 600 recruiters globally, not I, but the company does at Oracle. And I find that less than 10% of them are tweeting on a daily, weekly basis. So I expanded this, and I decided to tap into your hiring managers. And I find that those people, hiring managers, whatever level, whatever industry they are or org they are, get more retweets than our recruiters do. You know why? Because, did I miss a bunch of stuff? No. The reason they do is because it's easy. People see them as a normal Joe, right? Sometimes recruiters are scary to other people because we're constantly pitching jobs, or they know you have a job, and I don't want to retweet a recruiter because then my boss knows I'm looking for a job. But, Joe Schmo, hiring manager, doesn't have that threat. It could just be a friend. And so I'm finding that working with the hiring managers directly, or the business is what I call it there, call it at my job, has been working for us. And so brand advocates can be all shapes and sizes. I'll no longer say it's recruiters only. What do you do with your brand advocates? You give them Oprah-sized love. You educate, you engage, and then you empower them with the tools to be successful. And that alone is its own little class. But the most premise of it is educate them with your brand. You got to give them ideas of what to say that's appropriate and comfortable, because guess what? It's so nerve-wracking for me to tweet as Oracle because I'm scared that one of the CEOs is going to fire me because I decided to throw an emoji in my tweet. So imagine, and that's my job, like I get paid to do this. So imagine Recruiter, I know you guys have anxiety to do the same. So what we do is we send out, a newsletter, and I'll show it to you next. But the reason you want these brand advocates is that 83% of people trust the recommendations of friends and families. And I know Pete's gonna hate me, but this came from Nielsen. I know. And what that means is that you're gonna trust your friend and family before you make any online purchase, right? So you're going to, if a friend tells you to work at Oracle, you would trust them more than if the careers at Oracle, site said you should work here, right? And so earned media and paid media seems to resonate very well in that regard. Also, while I'm on it, is 88% of people trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. How many of you spend time on Amazon and, read the reviews before you hit buy? Yeah. I just bought a leaf blower while I was on the couch on Sunday. I was so excited. And I literally took an hour to buy a stupid $40 leaf blower because I needed to have the best one. The review that sold me, the 75-year-old grandma that said she could do it with one hand. I'm like, yes! I will not sweat while blowing my leaves. So, where do you find employee-generated content, which we talked about earlier, the easy stuff? I do a lot of personal outreach. As a recruiter, it's easy. You talk to people while you're on the phone with the hiring manager. They tell you, hey, find me 3 developers. Say, yeah, do you know we have a Facebook, we have a Twitter. Is there any way that you can send me pictures from your last team meeting? Or perhaps send me pictures of the cafeteria, whatever. I start simple. Next thing you know, I'm asking them for pictures of their families. But we start easy. Internal newsletters, which I'm going to show you, are phenomenal. They're free. I do them in-house. I started with just one for recruiting. Now I do them for the business. It's the best way to get content. Also, pepper my teams with content. Social media outreach, that's how I go on Instagram, and I say, oh my God, you're amazing. Let's be BFFs, and can I have all your content that has Oracle on it? Internet research is the way that I don't get fired by calling myself an internet stalker. I do a lot of that. Best site to be an internet stalker on is Tagboard. It's free. It's hashtag related. Your company probably has a hashtag even if you don't know about it. Life at Oracle was around before I even started. We just still use it. But if that's not the case, hashtag your company name. You'd be amazed at how much stuff is out there with just your company name. Team meetings, anytime that someone invites me to a meeting, and it's not that much recently, but when I first started, I was the hit of the party. I take the moment to be a soapbox and ask for content because people don't realize, just like you guys don't know what content is, hiring managers don't know what content is. Company events are also a great time. I always ask for 5 minutes. Hey, thanks for inviting me. Can I get 5 minutes on the podium? And that's when I talk about, hey guys, this is our hashtag. Everything you do today, put this hashtag on it, and I'll find you, because I do. Here's the newsletter. I really wanted to show you guys this because it's free and actionable. And basically what I do here is I send this out every Monday to all our recruiters. In the first bucket, I ask them for what I need. I tweeted out my slides when I first started, and they'll be tweeted out again in 5 minutes. And it tells you what we want, what we need. And then the second half is tweets or shareable content that they can send out to all of their social media. I give them hashtags that I can track later. And I also track all the links. You'll see we have a form of Bitly, so we know how many times they're clicked. Okay, I'm at time. Can I go like 2 more minutes? Okay, so measure and optimize is the big part, right? And people are always like, oh my God, I just got started on Facebook. Like, what do you mean measure and optimize? It's like working out, which we already know my story. But you are not going to continue working out if you're not losing weight or you're not gaining muscle, right? So you're not going to continue to starve yourself and go to the gym every freaking day if you're not seeing some sort of gains or losses. And that's the same thing about social media. So the question here always I get is, what is it that I'm measuring? And I think it depends. It depends on what you're looking to do. I talked to someone yesterday that told me all that they measure is likes. And that's a fine way to get started. Awesome way to get started. Because you're trying to grow your channels, you probably don't have much. You know, back in my HP days when we started the channel with 0 followers, I used to turn down for what in my kitchen, you know, my kitchen dance floor that I personally have made without a strobe light, coming soon, for 2, 4 likes that weren't my parents, you know? Now, my metrics are a lot different, right? But I also gained an established social media site, so I can't tell my VP that I'm excited over 22 likes on a post. Actually, I feel like that's something we'd kill. Actually, 22 is dead, goes away. So I measure things like, you know, we started with 82% millennials on Facebook. Can you help me get to, you know, the 35 to 45 range in 3 months and track it? Or, hey, Manuel, you only got 100 people in Mexico following you on Facebook. Double that number, which he actually tripled in 2 quarters. But that's the kind of metrics that make me like get excited, because then I can say, we tripled our fan following in Mexico. And that's awesome, right? Because it's really actionable. Other things we track are clicks on the links. That kind of rhymed. Because I want to see how many people are actually reading our stuff. I get super jazzed about how many people traffic, SEO. A funny story, when I first started, our SEO wasn't set up. So our traffic sites are amazing due to that one little click. Bottom line is, whatever you're measuring, whether it's likes or it's engagement growth or fan follower growth or hires, and I wish I could have told you a funny, awesome story about how many hires I made, but we're not quite there yet. Because I feel that the tools you have in place have to talk to social media, and I have yet to find something that kind of marries all of it. But when I do, I'm going to sell it for a lot of money because I think it's important. And that's my goal for 2016, is figuring out how to get a freaking hire. And we do make hires, you know, that are tracked to social. I think we made 140 last quarter, so I don't want you to think we're not making hires. But I would like to see, like, I clicked this ad on Facebook or this post on Facebook, and it tracked it all the way to hire. That would be like a full-down, shut-down party. Like, I'd invite all of you. We would just party it up, open bar. Like, it'd be awesome. But what I want you to challenge you is, if you continue thinking your old way, then you're going to keep getting the same results. Right? And so that's kind of like the person that goes to the gym and does squats every day, and that's all they do. And then they're like upset because they didn't lose weight, you know, but they could probably have a really big butt. That's not part of this. You're not going to get the results if you don't change, right? And so we're constantly changing. Every 3 months, we're changing. And it's not because, like someone said right before us, the data can, you know, it's not perfect. But I always want to make it better. And every time it's something different, right? So we want to attract developers. So how are we going to tweak it? And so you can't have the same train of thought and expect the same, you know, different results. You're going to get the same thing. All right, so key takeaways, and I'm going to breeze through this because I am sitting in one of these rooms for lunch, and so you guys can ask me questions. Build a brand task force that's easy. Find people that love you, are passionate about your brand. You're going to educate them. You're going to give them all the tools they need. They're going to do your dirty work. You need people to do your dirty work. You're too busy. You're on Twitter all day. Jeez, like, you can't do everything. Turn marketing inward. That's a big fancy way of saying use your employees. Your employees are your content. When everyone says I don't have content, I'm like, how many employees on your team? 20. You have 20 pieces of content. Figure it out. Measure and track success. You see I put the muscles there because I'm hoping that this is like going to channel something bigger and better in my life, and I'll be working out. Track success. Celebrate whatever it is that you're measuring. If it's likes, let's just leave it about likes, or Twitter followers. The growth of the Twitter followers that you've gotten over the time of the week. Let's say you started with 0 and you get 5, that's a party. You get 10, bigger party. 100, shut it down. Like, that's your celebrations. And they're simple, they're easy, they don't have to be big. One day you're going to get to where you're going to have bigger headaches like mine, where you're going to worry how to get hires. That's fine, that's my problem. Not yours right now. You're just getting started. Enjoy and have fun. And never give up. I'm a big proponent of things are going to fail. We call it divorce. Everyone thinks it's a scary word. It's really not. Divorce is not that bad. We post things that tanks, we get rid of it. We have a 3-week turnaround time because sometimes things just fail. And it's not because it was horrible content. Timing might have been off or it wasn't relevant in the moment. Social media is like working out. So like, you might quit working out for whatever reason. It's Thanksgiving, you want to eat some more. But you always come back to it. And don't take the failures as a reason to quit. Take the failures as a way to improve upon what you failed on. That's it. Whew. And I couldn't holla. That's all of our stuff. Follow us. And if you guys have any questions, I know you're at the top of the time.
So we have time for at least 2 questions, but do realize that Celinda is going to hang around for during the networking lunch, so you'll be able to get a little one-on-one. We actually are planning on doing just sort of get your lunch, come back in here, and talk a little bit more about employer branding. But do we have 1, 2 quick questions? Jill.
Hi, I have a question in regards to the legality of having employees' pictures on your site. Do you have them sign a form to be released, or how does the company look at that?
Is this being recorded? We have a social media policy. We have a social media policy that was created before I got started, where we encourage our employees to be social. And in that social media policy, it kind of buffers that in. Obviously, that was worked on by our legal team and our social media center of excellence. I haven't changed it. I just use that. Now, if HR were to answer the question, there is a form to use. I don't use it, but I feel the policy is enough cover for me.
We have another quick question, or do we? Tiffany.
Hey.
Hi.
Okay, so quick question around the level of monitoring that goes into it. We have talked about incorporating a social media campaign, and we're wondering how much of it needs to route through recruiting, and we have kind of a final approval before letting it actually post or tweet, versus just running with the hashtag campaign and letting employees who are hopefully following a social media policy do their due diligence and tweet correctly. So how much monitoring or oversight do you have over the campaigns that Oracle runs?
I mean, I'm an internet stalker, so I know everything that goes on most of the time. Like right now, we're obviously losing quality time of my stalking. But no, I feel the social media policy is in place. And so rules are rules, right? I'm a big rule follower. And I'll tell you, I've been at Oracle for almost a year, and every time I say that, it makes me shake because I can't believe it's been a year. I've never seen anyone abuse it. Every now and then I'll see, this is the biggest abuse we get, is someone will tweet their email and say, email me to work for us. And I feel like that is a little sketchy. So I'll reach out to that recruiter and say, listen, I get you want connections, put up your LinkedIn profile. I feel a little bit more comfortable with you doing that than sharing your email. But other than that, people are just people that are advocates of your brand, whatever the brand is. I mean, I just talked about Nike, and how passionate I am about them, tend to not going to say negative things. We do get negative reviews every now and then on Glassdoor, but those tend to be from people that somehow felt slighted by us. And those are monitored a whole lot differently. We do get HR and legal involved in those.
Do you respond to those Glassdoor negative comments?
If it's something like, interview went poorly, this is a true one, and the connection was really bad and she never called me back or something like that, I do. I say, I'm so sorry this happened to you. This is not the norm. I'm going to get in touch with that recruiting manager. Well, let's see if we can fix it. And I have done that. If it's something like, and this is also a true story, that had happened negatively in the office that I felt uncomfortable answering, then I definitely pass those off, and those have not been answered yet. But Glassdoor is brand new to the Oracle strategy, and so we're trying to figure out how to move it from recruitment marketing and make it a full cycle Oracle value. We're not there yet.
So let's give a rounding applause for Celinda.
Good?
Yeah. So I actually want to ask for a second round of applause because this is a recruitDC success story. You heard her say it. She was here, she learned something, she went home, took that information, changed her life around, and is now a superstar. You all can do that. That's what we're expecting out of you. And we're expecting you to do that, do best practices, and then come to the recruitDC website and submit a proposal so you can speak up here like Celinda. So, round of applause for Celinda.
Thank you. Thank you. Done? Yeah. Thank you.
So, you've heard a lot today about transparency and honesty, and all of you who know me know that that's something I live by. So, the board got here at 6:30, 6:45 this morning, and we had 2 fire drills. So, look at how great the event came, and we were all standing out in the rain at 6:45, 7 o'clock this morning. We also have a great group of volunteers who help with the event. We have had 2 people fall and have to go to the hospital. We've including the chef that was supposed to cook your lunch. So your lunch is actually already ready. They stepped it up and cooked all of those turkeys, not like my 36-pound turkey I cooked last weekend, but we still make the show go on. So it is hard work doing this. It is a passion that we all have. So if you see any of the volunteers, you see any of the board members, please do thank them. This is not a paid job. This is something that they do on their side. So we have one more sponsor presentation, just a few minutes. We decided to do something new this time and realize that all of you are here all morning and you want to have something to eat. It's now go over to Tyson's, try to grab something, get back to the office. No, we decided that we were going to provide you lunch, and Indeed stepped forward and sponsored your lunch. No presentation, networking lunch, so we're going to introduce Dave Luca from Indeed.
Thanks, Kathleen. And to that end, we are going to talk about, just for a few minutes about this, because I have the unenviable task of being the only person who stands between all of you and turkey. So I don't want to be that guy. I am here today joined by Justin Arpan and Jabari Groves, if you guys would raise a hand. Before we start, I do think that it's important to recognize the recruitDC board again. We are really appreciative to be back here talking with all of you today. So if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have this opportunity. So Kathleen and team, thank you very much. Kathleen touched on it just a second ago. You ever think about what goes into putting an event like this on? I mean, it's not just, you don't just wake up in the morning and roll the red carpet out, right? There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot that happens along the way. And that actually is the inspiration behind Indeed's current global marketing campaign about how the world actually works. Everything from inventory specialists to application developers. So if you haven't seen that already, the idea behind this is, and this is the core mission of Indeed, how do we help job seekers? If we can help job seekers make their process easier, it's going to help all of you as recruitment professionals. To that end, we also know that a lot has changed in the last 6 years, where it was a recruiter's market several years ago. Today, we know that's much different. Arguably, if there's anyone in healthcare who's recruiting IT or engineering, 6.2 and 1.7 probably mean nothing to you. If any of these numbers could be negative today, they probably would be. And how about engineers who require security clearances, right? Even more negative. Fortunately, Indeed is in a position that we gather data. That's essentially what we do as a company. So we're in a position where 180 million people, unique visitors, come to our website every single month. As a search engine, they know they can find any job that's posted online via Indeed. But more importantly, especially to this audience, is what it means to you. Everyone leaves behind a trail. And that trail is, what kind of keywords are they using to search for and find jobs? And as you look at the screen behind me, How many of you are currently recruiting for anything that resembles, or anyone on your team have anything that resembles this, right? These are the top 10 emerging searches from 2013 to 2014 that job seekers have done. And they followed two really core interests. First and foremost is that we're into a much more specialized economy these days, certifications, et cetera, and it's also much more technical. And if you're not doing the technical work yourselves, you're attached to it in some way. From a recruitment perspective, that becomes online. And we've heard some great talks from Susan and Celinda today that talk to, obviously, the full circle and leveraging social. Well, we also know that there's a lot of noise out there, and Celinda touched on it a few minutes ago. She went from 87 different tools socially down to about 7. We know from your perspective there's a lot that goes on. Where do I go? What do I do? How do I go about doing it? From Indeed's perspective, what we look at is we try to simplify. Just like our website, where you come in and you enter what it is that you want to do and where it is that you want to do it. So too, from your perspective, it really comes down to 2 things. Inbound, these are your job advertisements, and outbound, how do you proactively engage your audiences? And where we are today is, as you all, many of you know, Indeed, as a global search engine for jobs, all of your jobs are there for free right now. You can certainly pay for some of these when you require additional pipeline, or you can proactively engage job seekers. And today we're going to leave you with a very high-level overview of 5 tips to leverage, right? And a lot of this, it might be a bit repetitive, but first and foremost, get attention of your job seekers. Opening with a strong statement that shares your culture. Make sure that these are targeted as well in terms of the keywords that you're using, both in your job title and your job description. Be open about who you are, right? We talked about culture and we heard about culture. So share your culture, be open and honest. I guarantee you it will help refrain individuals from applying to a job that may not be a fit. I'm trying to do this right now, but make sure that every word counts. No more than 80 characters in your job titles. Job description should be anywhere between 700 and 2,000 characters. Think about yourselves as marketers, right? Susan shared this earlier, where you want to give them just enough to act. And the last thing is test and measure everything. What was true, and how many of you have been in recruiting for more than 5 to 6 years? Most everyone, right? It's a different market today in terms even of the tools that you use. And the same holds true for what's moving forward. What's true today may not be true 3 months from now, so continue to test and evolve. And from Indeed standpoint, sure, we've seen success, right? We're, according to Silk Road, 54% of all hires made last year by their clients came from Indeed. That's something that obviously we're proud of because we're helping people find jobs. And, whoops, to end, or to almost end, if you'd like to learn more, please go to Indeed's blog, sign up for that. You'll receive updates from our hiring lab and employer insights group. Before we go on, I'd like to invite Justin and Jabari up very quickly. We do have a giveaway for the group. You're going to have to do that at your booth because we don't have the bowl here. We're going to do it at the bowl once we get there. So the last thing that I'll say, if you want to unzip the bag, there is something in there that at a very early recruitDC event, it was the summertime, and we came with a blanket, because who wouldn't want a nice cozy blanket during the summertime, right? We're going to follow that same trajectory here, where it's getting cooler, right? We know that the mercury is dropping, so no, but we do know that summer is right around the corner, and we want you to be ready. So what we're going to pull out here is your very own mobile marketing campaign. Yes, we are totally brand evangelizing right now. Your one and only Indeed polo shirt. along with some other nice parting gifts. So thank you again to Kathleen and the recruitDC team for inviting us. Hope everyone has a great afternoon.
Thanks, Dave. So yes, that was Mike Dolan did that. It was summer, it was 85 degrees. People were pulling out business cards to get a great prize from a sponsor, and he pulled out a fleece blanket. And we were like, no one really needs this. Well, the content part of the morning is over with. Do you feel like your heads are about ready to explode with all of this great knowledge? That's wonderful. We're going to be sending you out a survey later this afternoon. Please be honest with how today worked out for you, because these events are for you, and we want to continually improving them. Our next event is December 17th up in Rockville, just a bowling holiday party. We are also giving back to the community, so we will be doing a Toys for Tots collection. Come bring a toy, and we'll be able to play the night away with bowling and food and drink and having a really good time. As we said earlier, Indeed has sponsored the networking lunch. Turkey and gravy and sweet potatoes and mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts are all available over in the conference room. Pick up your plate. If you want to talk more about talent analytics or employment branding, come back here. You're welcome to eat as much as you want here in the auditorium. If you want to talk about veteran hiring, go back to the room where we had the breakout session for veteran hiring. And the same thing about a trusted resource. If you just want to network, there are tables out throughout the area. And finally, we do have the photo booth. I really want to see everyone taking their picture, having fun. You'll get a printout of it, and it'll also be emailed to you. Thank you so much for joining us at recruitDC.
I leave a microphone. You're not gonna do.